Today we're discussing the word group by command and to know the how we group by the specific group column, and then it's actually called split, apply, combine. That the term is coined by Hadley Wickham, and it is actually when we have certain columns and we just first of all apply certain aggregation commands and our group by command, and then we actually group the certain column, and then apply. For example, here we apply the half function. For example, it just half these two, and then we combine it for certain reporting. So it's actually combine, separate, apply and combine functions. And let's start how we use it as import pandas is pd, uh, and you will see it. For example, just we here I just actually here I the data is in my GitHub. Its name is sales data, and we'll see as it uploaded. We'll see how you will take its. You will see the data contains order ID, company ID, company name, date, value, sale or not, zero is sale not strike, one if the sale strike, the sales representative, and then the sales representative IDs. This is actually sales data. First of all, we'll see how we can apply the certain group functions on, on it and how we actually make the group. So first of all, we uh, apply the group by command on it, and we'll see how we can group the certain columns. For example, we set the grouped is equal to group by df dot group by. Let's say we apply it on sales representative, sales reps, and here we apply it to just see. Uh, so we will see how actually we can. So here we see how much groups we have actually there, and you will see we just here we can see that we make the grouped. We called a variable df dot group by. We need to do the certain actions, so we make the df dot group by is called the group column. We choose the sales representative as a group columns, and you will see first, for example, for Aaron has these much transactions or things that he sold. Adam Survey, Adel Kami. So these are actually the representative, and and the one representative is actually group. So these are actually grouped by the group by. So if we want to actually to take a specific group, we can take, for example, group dot get group. Here we, for example, if we want the first representative, let's say Andrew Hudson. So we just place over there. You will see that we can access the first group. Set representative, for example, that one group, second group, third group. So the group is based on actually the sales representative, the group column. It's called the group column. Sales representative is a group column. So you'll see you can access grouped or a specific group, for example, from many actions on that. So if we want the count of that how much rows are in each group, we can set grouped variable dot size. Size is actually how much rows each group have. For example, so you will see first group have 292, the second group have 324, and so on. So it tells us how much actually the group have the rows. We can apply certain function, certain condition on it. For example, we say we will apply the group by function. For example, if I group by, then we say your group by uncertain sales, say representative. You want to apply this function on that, and let's say apply applies a function. It's a it's a function. So it's a lambda. Lambda is actually a defining function when it's called when you don't want to define function in a standard way. That you define the function in this is when it's called lambda function. We can find the lambda function in for example did how many actually size each group has. But you will see that this here we actually made the two functions. The sales incentive where William is name is in the for example you will see there is William in their name. There is one function, and if there is not William in name, this is another function. So um, we will make the function it at you at our own convenience. So we'll see we will make the first group is actually true false where William is not appeared in, and the second group is true. True is where the William is in the name of a sales representative. If William is a part of sales representative, it's true. So it is 2889. And if the William is actually not the not in the name of name first or second name of the representative, it makes the second group. So this is how we actually make the. Another is actually very subtle method is actually when we continuous variable. It's very hard to make actually the group because in continuous variable there are many different values, but we can make the by using the cut method. That's how that group by. For example, how we see how can we actually use it? A group by method, PD group by method. PDF dot cut is actually the command that we will use, and in this command actually there are two arguments. One argument is, for example, data which on which actually uh, column you're applying. For example, the column is date. The column is, for example, it is we're applying on the let's say value. If it's continuous value, then uh, value. And how many buckets you actually need? You have to tell how many buckets. For example, 0, 3000, 5000, 7000. So you need actually four buckets actually, 10,000. So you need actually five buckets right now, and you'll see the size, how much data is. So you see, there is actually five buckets are made, five bins are made actually, five bins are made, and each bin has so many values. If you think that these this is a bit ugly, the labels are a bit ugly, you can introduce the labels. Labels are for say, uh, if there are five buckets here, you have to give the five labels. For example, initial, low, medium, you say, medium, say high, high. So you will see the yeah. So so the labels are changed. Similarly, the content. The problem lies with the time series data. If there is time series data, there's so many times, but it might be multi-seconds data, it might be daily data, and when you want to set the frequency, then PD dot grouper is actually very helpful. Panda grouper command is come and rescue you. For example, see how can we apply PD group by same group by in group by actually we use PD dot grouper. G is actually capital PD grouper, and it's apply on date column. So we say date column. So we say a key. It's a key value for, so we have to give the key. It's not a data. Key is equal to. Then we have to give the keys length. It will be date. will be actually the column name, so date, and frequency. Frequency mean yearly, or Y is for yearly, Q is for quarterly, and so on. C, we give them the size, how many values are there, and you will see that. Yes, so you see 2014, 15, 16. If you want the quarterly or here, you just see the quarter, and you will see it's a quarterly. So that's how you change the things. Uh, you can actually you can group column by to group the column in multi columns, more than one column. Then you can use a group by in, and use, for example, you need to see two columns. If you need a two column, for example, which column do you have? Say sales representative, sales rep, and another column say company name. Yeah. If you want to see these two, say its sizes, and you will see how many values will be there, and you will see uh, the group by by command. Actually, there is it's a multi group for multi column group. For example, Aaron and the company name, and then 2026. So this is actually it's a two layer, one layer and second layer, and then it's grouped by the multi columns. Structure of our rest of discussion will be we will discuss apply, then aggregate function, and then transform on, and then we will discuss the filter function. Normally we use of apply and uh, aggregate in the same sense. For example, say uh, we apply the group is equal to df dot group by on the grouping column. So this column will be the grouping column. Okay, ji? So this is a grouping column, and we can have a different convention. For example, we say group dot apply mean, it gives the mean of the fun of the grouping column. Similarly, on aggregative function, you can do the same. Also, there is third type of syntax in which we have a group. Then here we will put the aggregating column, and here we will give the aggregating function. Similarly, a most elegant will be the group dot aggregate and aggregating column. We will give the dictionary, for example, aggregating column, and aggregating function. Where group mean or will be there is a full list of the group the function you can use. For example, there's so many functions you can use, and also if so, not only these functions you can use, but you can define your own function. See how we can use actually. How we use the syntax. For example, uh, we use the pd.grouper for our time series data. We take the data and we apply it on a frequency, for example. So you see what we will give. It give us actually a grouper function, and then if we apply it on the sales data, sale data, and then we take just apply a sum function on it. See what will it give us. It give us the month. It's give us the yearly sale. So you see, it give us the yearly sales. This is the beauty of apply function. It group on certain functions, and it will give us the sum. Also, we can take the multi-column sum from, for instance, see, we can take the multi-column sum. It's a multi-column sum. See, yearly value and sale. Now we will discuss the aggregation. Aggregation is when we have uh, many columns and a sequence of column, and the sequence of column is get into just boil down to just single value. For example, maximum or minimum is actually uh, an aggregation of a sequence of columns and then summarize to just a single value. Uh, the convention is, for example, we first uh, define the grouping column, and then op- on grouping column, the operation of aggregation is done, and we have to, in argument, we have to tell two columns, aggregation column, two things, aggregation column and aggregation function. Let's see. For example, we just define the aggregation group by cell representative. This is the group column. There might be two column, as many column. Then we have to pass into list. Uh, then aggregation dictionary, for example, if we see the order size, the column order, and size is a function. So this aggregation column, aggregation function. This is grouping column, and this is aggregation column, aggregation function. Similarly, we have a value. This if we want to pass two more than one uh, aggregation function, then we have to pass it through a list. So you see, the square brackets, the square brackets show that we are passing a list and aggregation column cells, and we have two function on it. So that's how we define. So df dot group by, and then we give the group column. It's better than we share calls. We can write two or three, so better say calls dot aggregation, and in aggregation we just pass aggregation dictionary and see what happens next. So here we got a, the grouping column is the set representative. So Aaron have 292 have received 292 orders, and the sum was that much. The mean was there. They have approximately 46 sales he's made, and the mean is from if if we are if you want to to justify customize your levels actually so that you do get entangled in messy column names, then you can also rename column according to your wish. Uh, say if we tweak a little bit, say we want only the instead of well we said the potential sale, we said the potential sales, so we rename it as potential sales size of it. So actually, and for sales, say we only interested in its sum. So we should pass through. It says sale. We're interested in sale, and for sale we take the sum of sales, and then we pass it through. Then we pass it to the same structure. But see, if here we have to pass double static. Double static is allow us to pass an arbitrary number of arguments, and in this way we rename our column as we required. But this is, oh yeah, we don't put this no, it works. You see, it works. uh, no, the, the well is renamed as potential sales, and you can do as many column as renamed in in the register you have to pass double static in it. When you rename or specify name according to your own desire, then you have to pass double static on it, and you will have to uh, follow this kind of structure. We'll discuss the transform. Transform function is a function which is a kind of aggregation, but the beauty of this is that the data size is output data size is have the same length as input. So our data size of for a series will preserve its size. Transform function always gives you a series whose length is always equal to the input data. For example, see how see see we need percentage of the groups of the group total in value and dividing by the group wise. So df dot group by we see it. And then on which function we see a transformation, say value function, and we in then we set transform, and on transform we define a function. On transform we define a function. A function is, for example, that it's each entry of the data frame is divided by its group sum. For example, let's run it. So see which is the length of the data frame, and it gives a series, and each row is divided by, so each entry or each row is divided by group sum. Group sum said representative is, and it's the sum of around it's the sum of next is representative. So each entry 0 1 2 up to so on, each entry is divided by its group sum. So group sum is says representative sum. So the transformation is in aggregation in the sense that it aggregates, but it gives us a series input data. Uh, Keep in mind that this is my GitHub URL, and you can have all my lectures, Jupyter notebook or that I use, all is placed in this our that GitHub. So you can access my data, our Jupyter notebooks, our code files in by clicking filtering method. Filtering method is a bit different than simple filtering method. Group by filtering method is when we apply the filter on the whole group. So applying the group by operation on an entire group. The entire group is true or false. While in simple filtering, each row is true or false, is, is made true or false. But when we apply the group by operation and then apply the filter, then it is applied on the whole group, on an entire group. But keep in mind that a filtering method always gives you a true or false because we apply a certain condition or a certain function uh, on it. So let's see uh, how much sales representative have made a sale of more than 200,000. Uh, so let's see, apply df dot group by. We group by. So group by is on sale representatives dot filter, and then we apply a lambda function, say x, and then we apply multiply by multiply by x into sale. If I sale into this kind of sale, it's better to put it in the square brackets. because it's a aggregation function. You have to apply the sum greater than 200,000. Uh, Keep in mind that we have to apply a certain aggregation function on because we're choosing the group by form. Let's see what will yes, and uh, let's put it on given another name data frame is called filt. So it's a filter database and see what happens. We take the original data frame. It is so much and the data, data frame filt dot shape. So you see, out of 100,000, 68,000 has been filtered. So almost 42% uh, have been filtered. And see how much cell representative are left. Let's say data frame sales reps dot and so, so see in original data frame we have around 499 cell representative, and after applying the condition you will see that how much uh, cell representative have been filtered. 220. We're left with 220. So it's mean there are only 220 set representative who have made more than 200,000. So you see can, the filter have significantly filtered the data almost for 2% of the rows, and you will see we're left with only 200, 220 set representative out of 499 who have met their target. So this is how we can apply the conditioner or the filter or the group by structure. Thank you.